Welcome to our essential guide on LMKR's Digital Code of Conduct. In today's world, everything we do online, every single click, every email we send, it all matters. So think of this as our shared playbook for keeping our data, our clients, and our reputations safe and sound.
So, here's what we're going to cover. We'll kick things off by talking about why protecting our assets is so crucial. Then, we'll dive into the core principles of security and what that means for your digital workspace. After that, we'll look at professional communication, tackle the safe use of AI, and finally, wrap up with how policy and monitoring works.
All right, first up, protecting our assets. Before we jump into all the what to do and what not to do, it's really important that we're all on the same page about the why. Why does this policy even exist, and who does it really apply to?
So, who needs to follow these rules? The answer is, well, it's simple. Everyone. It doesn't matter if you're a full-time employee, a contractor, or a consultant. If you use LMKR's digital resources, you're agreeing to follow this code. We're all in this together.
When you boil it all down, the goal here is to protect three key things: the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of our information. Basically, we need to keep our data private, make sure it's accurate and trustworthy, and ensure that we can all access it when we need to. This is how we protect our business and our reputation.
Okay, so let's get into those core principles of security. We're going to define two of those big ideas we just mentioned, confidentiality and integrity, and then we'll get crystal clear on what we mean by sensitive data, because that's what this is all about protecting. First, we have confidentiality. The easiest way to think about this is the classic need-to-know basis. It's our promise, really, to make sure that private information stays private and is only seen by people whose job absolutely requires them to see it. Next up is integrity, and this one is all about trust. We have to be able to trust that our data is correct, that it's complete, and that no one has messed with it without permission. Integrity is what makes our information reliable.
So what kind of information are we actually talking about protecting? We call it sensitive data. And this is a really broad category, It covers everything from our secret business plans and financials to the personal info of our employees and our clients.
Okay, time for a quick knowledge check to see if that all landed. Which one of these principles is specifically about making sure data isn't shared with people who aren't supposed to see it?
If you picked C, confidentiality, you nailed it. Remember, integrity is all about the accuracy of the data, but confidentiality is all about controlling access to it.
All right, enough theory, let's get practical. This next part is all about what you need to be doing every single day to help keep our digital environment here at LMKR secure. These are your hands-on responsibilities. When you're handling company data, these 4 rules are your North Star. 1, only access data you're actually authorized to see. 2, store it in the right approved places. 3, get the green light before sharing it. And 4, always use our approved channels like Outlook or Teams to share it.
Look, your password is the front door key to everything, so protecting it is absolutely critical. That means you've got to use multi-factor authentication, create passwords that are strong and unique, and of course, never share your login details or try to use someone else's.
And what about just browsing the internet on company time? Well, the line here is pretty straightforward. Our network is for work. Of course, a little personal use is fine as long as it doesn't get in the way of your job or break any other rules. But anything that distracts from your duties or violates policy, that's just not acceptable.
Next up, let's talk about how we communicate. The way we use tools like email and even how we present ourselves on social media has a huge impact on our security and our professional reputation. Okay, email storage. I know, not the most thrilling topic, but it's important to know the deal. As you can see, your mailbox and archive space are based on your role in the company. It's up to you to manage your email and stay within these limits. And it's not just about storage. There are some other really critical rules for email. First, security. Stay alert for those tricky phishing emails and report anything that looks suspicious. Second, professionalism. Your work email is for work, not for online shopping or social media. And your communication should always be respectful. And finally, just good housekeeping. Keep your inbox tidy, and just a heads up, anything in your deleted items folder gets permanently wiped after 10 days. All right, let's shift gears to a really important and very current topic, generative AI. These tools are amazing, right? But they also come with some pretty serious risks.
Our policy is all about making sure we can use them safely without putting the company in danger.
So, I want to start with a question for you. Just think about it for a second. Of all the company data you work with, what part of it is actually safe to just pop into a public AI tool like ChatGPT?
The answer is none. Absolutely zero. Let me be super clear about this. You must never, ever input any company information, not our strategy, not customer details, nothing, into a public, unapproved AI platform. That's a huge security risk.
And these rules, they're for everyone, no exceptions. On top of not inputting data, you can't use AI to make final calls without a human double-checking things, you can't create content that's unethical, and you can't share any AI output that might expose sensitive info. Now, for our developers, we have to be even more careful because the stakes are higher. You can't upload source code, API keys, or any other system secrets. All AI-generated code has to be carefully reviewed by a person, and you have to be vigilant about not accidentally violating intellectual property rights. Okay, we're in the home stretch. Let's wrap up by talking about the policy itself, how it's monitored, and, most importantly, your role in making it all work.
So, let's boil it all down to the key things you really need to remember. First, the company can and does monitor activity on its systems. Second, this policy isn't set in stone. It gets reviewed and updated every year. And maybe most importantly, following these rules is a condition of working here, and you are personally responsible for how you use our IT resources. So I'll leave you with this one last thought. As technology keeps changing at a dizzying pace, the single most powerful security tool we have is your good judgment and your daily commitment. Your thoughtful, security-first choices are what truly keep us all protected.